Hello YouTube, what's going on? I'm making this short public service announcement for potentially any other Scout or Scout Bobber owners that might be having this problem. This is my 2020 Indian Scout Bobber. I bought it brand new, and initially when I bought it I had a problem where the first time I washed it, a few minutes later I went to start the bike and it died completely. The instrument gauge went completely blank. There was no lights. All power was lost. I took off the seat and I could hear clicking a circuit breaker. This 15 amp chassis circuit breaker, that one right there, was just clicking intermittently. The problem persisted. I left the bike like it was for a week, called the dealership. They picked it up about a week later, had it for about a week, and then called me to say that the bike was fixed. They claimed that what was wrong was that the circuit breaker was bad and they had to replace it. I have since learned that they were incorrect about that diagnosis. After that happened, I had my bike up north where I have an RV and a toy hauler, and it was stored up there in Central Florida, and I rode it for the next 2 years only from there, intermittently. It was always dry. And it never drove in the rain, and it never got wet again, so the problem never persisted. By the way, sorry about my mess. I have a lot of maintenance that I'm doing here on both the bike and my boat. In any event, I brought the bike back down here to South Florida, and the first time it rained, not soaking wet, and I do keep the bike covered, the same thing happened again. Bike shut off, there was no electricity, and all I could hear was the tripping of the circuit breaker. And this time, I left the key in the on position with that breaker tripping, and I actually reached up underneath the swing arm. It's hard to see, actually you can't really see up in there, but there's a voltage regulator, the base of the swing arm, and then above the voltage regulator, not really visible, is the ABS module. Okay, that module sits underneath the battery tray in the battery compartment. I was able to reach in with a couple fingers and jostle around some of the wires that I could feel there. The moment that I did, I felt a drop of water, and the power came back on. The fuel pump relay turned on. The resetting of the circuit breaker stopped, and the bike started right up. That then made me realize there's either some wire that I can't see chafing in there, or there's something exposed that got wet and is causing the short. So I took the battery out, which wasn't that big of a deal. I also took out the battery box, which was a total pain in the ass to get out. This is the battery box, and what made it a pain to get out was that that's the front of the battery box there. There's this notch that you see there. The coolant reservoir, which is the white thing you see there, the base of that coolant reservoir fits into that notch, which makes it very difficult to pull the battery box out because it's trying to take the coolant reservoir with it. I'll post a link in the description to a post on the forums as to how to deal with that, and once I saw that, it was actually not that bad to get out. But let me get on to what the problem was, and I suspect I'm not the only person that this has happened to, and this is a problem, I think, right from the factory with Indian. And that's the following. Once I got the battery box out, I was able to see down in there, and focus please, you can probably see there that black plug that's zip tied to a blue plug. That's a 2-prong plug. I don't know what it's for. I'm assuming it might be a diagnostic plug of some sort, but it's zip tied to another plug, and it's facing straight up. It's fully exposed. The bottom of the battery tray, the battery box, has a drain hole in it. Any water that gets onto the bike that manages to make its way into the battery box was dripping straight down onto that plug, and the minute water got on it, the bike would short out and die. Okay, when the dealership first dealt with this a couple years ago, they never fixed it. What happened was they had it long enough that the water that got on there simply evaporated. And when I checked this problem yesterday and jostled the wires, I actually felt water drip out and actually saw it below the bike. And I'm certain that this is the problem. I have no idea why Indian would have manufactured the bike with that plug left unplugged, much less unplugged, but even worse, zip tied facing upward, where it was inevitable that water was going to get on there. I've seen posts on many forum threads where people have complained about their bike inexplicably dying, and then later seeming to work again without issue. I suspect that this is a somewhat common problem. I don't know if it's limited to some Scouts and some Bobbers, or maybe other models of the Indian lineup as well. And it probably isn't all of them. Maybe there is a plug that was supposed to be there that was missed, or maybe they zip tie it in some cases sideways or oriented down, where the water never gets into that plug and shorts those circuits. In any event, the fix is pretty easy, other than the hassle of getting to that plug. I went to to AutoZone, and I got a Dorman coolant bypass cap that's 5/8 inside diameter, and it fits quite snugly over the exposed plug, and that's part number 02250. I'm going to fill the exposed plug with dielectric grease. It's non-conductive grease that will basically shield those exposed prongs from any moisture or any water that might get in there. And then I'm going to also cap it with the coolant bypass cap. And so it's a cheap and very easy fix. But if anyone's having this problem or has had this problem and cannot decipher what it is, check this, because it's highly likely to be the issue. I have contacted Indian customer service to let them know about this. That was just this morning. And they said that they would follow up with me, but I'm quite sure I'm not the only person that's had or is having this problem. Fortunately for me, the issue's solved. I hope this can help somebody else, and good luck. In spite of this, I do love the Bobber and have enjoyed the heck out of it, and it's otherwise been a great bike. I'll do a separate video at some point showing my mods and other things, so you don't see it looking like the wreck that it is right now. Anyway, good luck, folks. Take it easy.